Just doing some late night tackle maintenance before going fishing tomorrow. Making some leaders for pike fishing. Was using 30 pound steel, but I don't like it. You cut it to crimp it, and then it starts to fray like this. Sucks to crimp and get your hooks on right. So I switched to 90. It's way too heavy. You don't need 90 for pike fishing, but I'm gonna make some 90-pound leaders. Louie, what's up, Louie? I like my hat. It's a cool hat. I like it too. I think I've had this for as long as I can remember. I think it used to be my dad's hat, and I snagged it from him and started wearing it, and he hasn't asked for it back in probably 15 years, so I guess it's mine now. Tough to find a hat these days or anything without a big frickin' logo on it. You just can't go wrong keeping it simple with a duck. The old mallard duck. Yeah, this 90 is much easier to work with. Doesn't fray on the ends at all. It goes through the crimps really nice. Oh, that's beautiful. So I'm cutting my leader. I haven't cut it yet, but cut the end. And I put that crimp, which is that black, let's see here, the black thing right there. I take my pliers, big long needle nose. I like the long ones for taking pike off the hook. Take the pliers, go up to that crimp, crimp it down. Squeeze her down good and tight. And that crimp basically smashes around the wire. There you go. Cut the other end of your leader as long as you want it. I'll make this one probably close to a foot. Got my hooks here, using some VMC size 2 hooks. The last ones I was using were Eagle Claw. They did the job, but I can't say I was too impressed. They weren't all too sharp. Seemed like they bent pretty easily. So I put my crimp on there again, just like that. Got my hook here. Feed the wire through my hook. Loop it back around. Through the crimp it goes. Grab my pliers. Smash that crimp. Anybody watching doesn't know anything about wire leaders, guys use them for really toothy fish. Northern pike are super toothy. You got tons of sharp teeth. So you either want like a fluorocarbon leader or else wire. I'm using wire. I got it. Wire's cheap. Seems like after you catch enough fish, the wire gets kind of bent up and all kinked. So at that point, if the hook is still in good shape, I'll just cut the hook off and make another leader. Trim my ends down so they look nice. That's that. That's where I attach my swivel to that I got on my tip up. Got that. Just like that. Hello. A.O. Bry. What's up, man? Probably going to be the last ice fishing outing of the season tomorrow. It's going to be like, gosh, it's going to be close to 60 degrees out there, so the ice is going to be deteriorating pretty fast, but it should be good enough that we can drive the UTV out on the ice. My dad's got a pretty nice tracked machine that we'll take out there. What am I doing? I'm a new sub. Hey, thanks for the sub, dude. I am making some wire leaders for pike fishing tomorrow. So you use wire leaders so the fish don't cut you off, cut your line. Northern pike are really toothy. So if you don't use wire, or else like a fluorocarbon leader, they'll cut your line, and you won't get them up through the ice or else into the boat. So you want a leader so they can't cut you off. Guess you could say I'm doing the fisherman's version of a craft project. So yeah, making some leaders, and I need to organize a bunch of my fishing tackle. Seems like I always start the season off with my tackle box and fishing gear in order, and halfway through the season it's a complete mess. Probably won't mess with organizing that tonight. I'm gonna get this done and get the rest of my stuff ready and head to bed. Had my last run for ice fishing last week. Altogether got 4 northern keepers, 19 perch, 20 bluegills. That's awesome. That's a heck of a day. Can't go wrong with a day like that. That's a great day. I don't do too much fishing for perch or bluegills. In the summer, catch a few bluegills. I don't usually target them specifically. If I'm fishing for walleyes or something and end up catching nice bluegills, I'm happy with that. But bluegills just don't get me quite as revved up and excited as pulling a monster pike through the ice or a big walleye. I love catching walleyes, but I don't have the patience for it. I shouldn't say that. I do, but I love catching big pike, and this is the time of the season. If a guy wants to catch big pike, they're as far as weight goes at their biggest, right before the spawn, and usually on the feed, bulking up before spawning. So now is a good time to get out and fish them if you can. I'm gonna live stream tomorrow on the ice. Yes, that's the plan. I am gonna live stream tomorrow on the ice. I don't know if I'll do it the whole time, and I'm not sure what time I'll start live streaming. So I guess if you're subscribed, you probably will get a notification, I think. I mean, I'm not a YouTube expert, that's for sure. But yeah, if you get a notification, you should tune in. Hopefully, be able to see us catch a few fish. That's awesome. Glad to hear you'll be watching. It'll be my dad and I, and my good buddy and business partner, and his dad. So be 4 of us out there, so we can have a bunch of tip-ups out, and hopefully there's a bunch of action. Fishing with a rod and reel is fun, but throwing out a bunch of tip-ups and just being able to watch for flags going up is enjoyable. You don't have to constantly be watching your rod and Vexilar, and you just watch the flags and enjoy the day. Target bass mostly in the summer. Bass are fun. I like catching bass. Bass on top waters is a great time. Bass, any way you can catch them, are fun, but if you can get them on top waters, that's about as fun as it gets there. Years ago, we were fishing for bass on top waters. It was probably, I don't know, it doesn't really matter what time of month it was, but it was in the summer. And I was pulling in my top water, and something drug it under, but it wasn't a bass type hit. Just something grabbed it and pulled it underwater, and felt like dead weight. And here was a big snapping turtle. Grabbed my top water frog. Probably, I don't know, I'd say a 20-pound snapper. So that was pretty exciting. Got him close to the boat and grabbed him by the tail and grabbed my top water bait from him. I don't even think he was hooked. He was just clamped down on the frog. And once he came in the boat, he decided he didn't want the frog and let go, and got a picture with him, and overboard he went. I wasn't about to give him a kiss. See some videos out there of guys doing that stupid stuff. Yeah, it's definitely can't wait for that. I'm excited, ready for open water fishing. Get after the bass and walleyes in open water and catch some pike. That's my favorite time to walleye fish, I would say, is open water, where if you're not catching them in one spot, you can fire up the boat motor and go move somewhere else, or go try a different spot on shore, or just keep walking the shore, being mobile, versus ice fishing. It seems like once you drill your holes, you're set. That's where you're going to be, unless if it's nice out like tomorrow, 60 degrees or even high 30s, then it's nice to be moving around constantly. You had a snapping turtle encounter. Oh yeah. What did your snapping turtle encounter consist of? Hopefully you didn't get bit. I could see that turning into an expensive fishing trip. Yeah, I bet it was funny. There goes one of my crimps on the floor. My wife and I, years ago down at the lake, we were sitting on the end of the dock. Okay, so me and my buddy were going to a usual spot in our neighborhood. And so my wife and I were sitting on the end of the dock, splashing our feet in the water, and this is after dark. And I'm always looking down in the water with the flashlight to see if I can see like eyes from walleyes. And here comes a big snapping turtle. So she got out of the water pretty quick. So me and my buddies were going to our usual spot, like in our neighborhood. Caught a couple of blue cats, crappies and stuff. We didn't have a bucket, you see. Okay, the story's getting good. I feel as if this story has potential. So I looked at my tackle box. All I had was a stringer. And we just put all the fish on the stringer and put it in the water, and kept fishing. Oh, I see where this is going. Yeah, we've had a very similar instance or occurrence, I should say. One of my buddies, Thomas, says, "Hey Bryce, why is the stringer moving?" Oh yeah, Mr. Snapping Turtle found your fish, beat you to him. He was loving that stringer. That was probably one of the greatest days of his life. Major score, didn't have to work for any of those fish. You boys are keeping him well fed. When I pull up the stringer, we had about 20 fish on that thing. There was only one head left. That thing comes up from the water staring at us. I bet that was a bit of a surprise. So instead of having fish for supper, did you guys have turtle soup? Yeah, I've learned my lesson about keeping fish on the stringer. That's the same thing has happened river fishing for catfish. You leave them in the water too long night fishing and you're not paying attention and pull up the stringer and there's fish missing. Or else down at the lake years ago, we had a metal fish basket that people use for putting panfish in. And we got done fishing in the evening. It was after dark. And I wasn't feeling like cleaning fish that night. So it's like, well, let's just throw them all in the basket and we'll clean them in the morning. Of course, in the morning, go out to the end of the dock and pull up the basket. And no fish in the basket, but there's a good sized hole in the basket. So Mr. Snapping Turtle helped himself to our fish. That was a lesson learned. No more fish baskets with fish in them left overnight. They either get cleaned or else killed and gutted out and put in the cooler on ice if I don't want to clean them at the time. Yeah, that's why I like winter a lot, because you can just put them on snowing. Yes, and you put them on ice. You're good to go for like a day. Clean them all at once. Yeah. Yeah, that is the nice thing about winter. You don't have to be quite as quick to clean your fish. Toss them in the snowbank and they'll be good, and don't have any snapping turtles out roaming around through the snow looking for fish, luckily. I know a guy, I'm not making this up, completely true story. He was doing some skinny dipping with his wife, and of course it was after dark. And I don't know if I truly believe it was a snapping turtle, but maybe it was a turtle of some sort. Yeah, found this guy skinny dipping and chomped on him where you don't want to be chomped on. And I think he sounded like he was a little bloody, but no hospital visit. But I think that'll be the last time he ever goes skinny dipping in a lake. And after hearing that story, I will never go skinny dipping in a lake. After dark, that is, I should say. If it's daytime and the water's somewhat clear and I can keep an eye on what's going on underneath the water, that's not quite as worrisome, but murky water after dark, and that's a no-go from me. I've never tried eating snapping turtle. I've heard they're good. I've heard from numerous people that they're really good eating. Watched videos how guys do it as far as butchering them goes, but part of me would feel a little guilty killing a snapping turtle and eating them. They're kind of prehistoric, so figured I'll let the big turtles go. Whenever I see them crossing the road, if they're in the middle of the highway, if traffic isn't too bad, make a point of trying to stop and help them across. And not lose any fingers doing it. Had snapping turtle. Was it good? Did it taste like chicken? It was jerky. Okay, cool. I've never heard of anybody making jerky out of them, but you can make jerky out of damn near anything, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, if you make jerky right, it's tough to tell what it is. I make jerky out of snow goose, all the snow geese we go out and shoot in the spring, and Canada geese from time to time, and it's a good snack, and most people can't tell what it is. You could give them a chunk of snow goose jerky and they wouldn't have a clue. The sweet teriyaki seasoning masks the flavor of just about anything. There we go. Got a nice pile of liters made up. I won't, kind of a jumbled up mess. Won't use all of them tomorrow. Hope I don't lose any of them. I'm sure I won't. Probably last me a couple of seasons. But ready to go. My pike box is an absolute mess. When I get done with these leaders, I want to store them in the box. Just take them, wrap them around in a loop like that. You got this end, wrap through the loop. Like all you need to do is basically once. Stays like that, and throw it in the tackle box, ready to go. The funniest story I have from fishing. Gosh. You know, I probably don't have any fishing stories that are absolutely hilarious by any means. It's kind of one of those things, when you're trying to think about them, you don't remember them. But when you're sitting around with your buddies BSing, then you laugh about some stupid stuff. I guess one comes to mind. Me and two other good buddies were shore fishing this spot, and it was a rocky shoreline along this section of lake, and it's a road that runs along the side of this lake, a bunch of rocks going down into the water. So we're standing there casting from these rocks, and I got this this buddy that he's just somewhat of a clumsy dude, and just doesn't have the greatest of luck. Fairly clumsy. And he's standing there on these rocks fishing, and he steps onto a rock that was kind of loose, and he was within probably 2 to 3 feet of the water, and kind of teeters back and forth on this rock. And it just so happened that me and my other buddy, it was perfect timing. We were both staring right at him as it happened. He teeters back and forth on this rock, and instead of just doing kind of a controlled fall backwards onto the rocks behind him, he ends up jumping outwards into the water, jumps out into probably about 4 feet of water, and this is early season, and it's colder than hell, and just completely soaked. Luckily, I had a pair of rain pants in the truck, so he had to walk back to the truck, take his soaking wet pants off, and the rest of the day fishing, he was just wearing my rain gear. But not a hilarious story by any means, but one of those things where if the person was there, I mean, you'd laugh until you bust a gut. That's probably the funniest one I can think of right now, but I'm sure there's a couple of others that I'm not thinking of. There was, I guess, another one that at the time I was young enough where I didn't really know what was going on, but my dad and I were out ice fishing, and he was in the fish house, and I'm outside dinking around on the ice. I was probably only like 5 or 6 years old, just walking around doing random things. I think I had a hockey stick out there hitting a puck around. And this big black lab comes from one of the cabins close by, and he's out there. Oh, later, man. I think that'll conclude my live stream. Thanks for watching. Oh, he's still there. Well, I'll go on to my story then, but the other funny time I could think of was ice fishing with my old man a long time ago. I was probably only like 5 or 6 years old. He's in the fish house. I'm outside dinking around on the ice, playing with like a hockey stick or something. And this big black lab comes across the ice from one of the cabins. And friendly dog. I start playing with him, roughhousing, and he's chasing me around, and I didn't know what he was up to, but he at one point he knocks me down on the ice and jumps on top of me and starts having his way with me out on the ice. And I thought he was just playing, so I can't get up, and I start screaming, like, well, not like afraid, but just yelling because he's got me pinned onto the ice. And my dad opens up the door to the fish house to see this big black lab on top of me having his way with me. And yeah, that's one that my dad and I still laugh about pretty often. Very nice dog, I will say. Just a friendly boy. A little too friendly. So when it comes time to get my son out fishing, I'll be keeping an eye out for the friendly dogs roaming around on the ice. Is he fluffy? Yeah, he was a fluffy boy. But with that, I think I'm going to conclude the live stream. and get the rest of my crap packed up. Need to change oil in the auger. Haven't done that since last year. Haven't ice fished a ton this season, but change oil for the last outing of the ice fishing season tomorrow, and yeah, do some live streaming. So catch you tomorrow.